before we finish up, we're going to do Ladbrokes 1, 2, 3. This is where you can play for absolutely free now on ladbrokes.com or on the app, where you just pick the scores in 3 of this weekend's Premier League games. If you get one score right, you get a €1 free bet. If you get 2, you get a €5 free bet. And if you get all 3, you win €100 cash. Kevin's going to make his picks now. First of all, Kevin, the big one on Saturday evening, Liverpool versus Arsenal. Liverpool, like if we talked about this at the start of the season when we were talking about Arsenal in crisis, Liverpool look back to their best and we'd be like, oh, here we go. This could be 3 or 4. Arsenal have been phenomenal lately. Like they just seem to have got it together. This is a big test for them though. So even though Liverpool have had 2 bad Premier League results in a row, I suppose they threw in a big win against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League in the middle there. You still don't feel like Liverpool are massively out of form. They just had a couple of bad days. And, you know, West Ham are a very good team as well. Let's not forget that. But this is just, I just find this very interesting because I think it'll tell us a lot about where both teams are on Saturday night.
Yeah, look, like Arsenal, like, can you imagine after the first few weeks of the season, they're only 3 points off Man City, 2 points off Liverpool. Like some turnaround. You'd be delighted for Arteta as well because he does come across as, you know, he got under a lot of pressure, a lot of stick. He comes across as a good, decent man who knows his football and is been trying to build something there and isn't losing patience. And some of their signings were questioned in the summer, and now the opposite. Everyone's saying how good their signings were. So I'm going to go for a draw in this game. I have a sneaky feeling Arsenal are on that run, are going to get something out of this. I go for a score draw, a goal apiece. Be brilliant to see Arsenal back, you know, competing again. They're owned by the owners of my old club in America, the same crowd, and they've got a lot of stick to Cronkies, a lot of stick. But it doesn't mean about it. They got a lot of stick in America as well. With my club was Colorado Rapids, and they got a lot of stick at the time that they weren't making the right signings and that they were planning too much for the long run and weren't spending enough money now. And now the Colorado Rapids in America have won their conference and are in the MLS playoff semifinals. Maybe it's an omen for Arsenal. Their manager is about to get manager of the year out there, I think. So things are looking up for that group, the Cronkies and the football side of both their clubs going well. And maybe they're the ones, you know, in comparison to Man United, who are just fire money left, right, and centre, and just try to stick a plaster on things. Arsenal seem to have a sort of a long-term plan in place and have stuck to it and haven't, you know, deviated from it. It seems anyway, and paying off for them so far this season.
Yeah, they own the Rams as well, which like they obviously moved from St. Louis to LA. But the funny thing is, when you think about Arsenal, you think, oh, are they being prudent? Or there's, you know, too much? The Rams are this is completely separate, but they're existing in this completely different stratosphere than everybody else in the NFL, where they're not worried about building through the draft round. They're just buying all these free agents, whoever comes up and stuff. And it just, without getting into like the technicalities of NFL, it feels completely the opposite of what Arsenal fans have been complaining about. It's funny. It could be something that they see over time, or maybe it's just American football is a different sport and we shouldn't compare them. Is probably more accurate. But all in Liverpool and Arsenal.
Yeah, sorry, 1-1. Remember that? Yeah, 1-1. Yeah.
I just went off.
I'm just out my NFL head here, thinking of all the teams there, and the LA. I think it's because they're in LA and all the players just want to play there, so it's easy for them just to sign the free agents. They all want to go to LA.
So, well, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Just hopefully they're all not over the hill. If you're a Rams fan, City against Everton. I don't know. I always feel like this is a game from 1995 or something like that, when both teams were always terrible and you'd still watch it. But both teams aren't terrible at the moment. But Everton are struggling a little bit. Yeah. They've had a lot of injuries and a lot. You kind of feel like you haven't seen the real Everton yet under Benitez. But at the same time, they'd want to get their act together soon enough. Like, you know, we were talking about there's 5 managers gone already this season. I think Benitez has a little bit longer. But you know, if you go to City and get a heavy beating here, I don't know. What do you think is going to happen?
I can't go on anything other than City win. Benitez be that type of manager though. He just know Guardiola inside out and be able to set up against them. But I'm still, they're just going through just a bad run though, aren't they? He's under pressure. Like, you know, he was under pressure to begin with, no matter what, just because of his Liverpool connection. So they're on that point now where they could drop into the bottom half or go on a run. They're due a run, but I don't think it's going to start this weekend. I think that frustrates City a little bit. It'll be well organised. I'm going to go for a City win. I'm going to go 3-1. Probably tight for the first half and City to push on and get a few goals in the second half.
3-1 to City, so for that one. And then later on Sunday is going to be Spurs against Leeds. Leeds seem to have kind of found a little bit of form without maybe the results so far, but Spurs is the more interesting one here, I think, because it's like we're going to see Conte now after the international break, feet under the table a little bit more, and it's like, will we see a new Spurs? That's kind of Sunday will be the first test of that, really.
Yeah, I think it's a great appointment. This is real, like, Spurs are always just, you feel like they're just a bit soft, don't you? I don't know, a bit harsh on them maybe or not, but he's the man that'll harden them up. He takes no messing. Hearing stories about him over the years, he's like serious individual. So I can see him doing well there, and I would see Spurs beating Leeds. I'll go with 2-0 win to Spurs. But I think they've done so well to get Conte in. It's madness in how it's gone and how quickly they've changed their manager. But I think that's a good appointment. I think that was a good decision.
Yeah, sometimes it is. You feel like it's harsh, but at the same time, I don't think there's many people who don't think that Conte is a better manager than Nuno. So when it comes to it, I suppose you're ruthless, but maybe it's the right decision. But we'll see how it goes. Anyway, that's Kevin's 1-2 free picks. You can play yourself on Ladbrokes.com or on the app now. Just pick the scores in the 3 games. Pick 1, you get €1 free bet. You pick 2, you get €5 free bet. You get all 3, you win €100 cash. Kevin's gone for Liverpool 1, Arsenal 1, Man City 3, Everton 1, and Spurs 2, Leeds 0 in the 3 games this weekend. So you can go on and play yourself now. Kevin, thanks a million. We'll chat to you next week. It'd be good to have the Premier League back. I'm sure a load of storylines will. Yeah. We went a half an hour there, and we only mentioned Manchester United once. So
no, we didn't talk about it. Let's not start now. We'll be talking about it next week. Don't worry.
Crisis talk coming next week. Thanks a million, Kevin. Talk soon.